Involves Caitlin Clark, the Department of Justice, and quite possibly the President of the United States himself. Somebody got to say it, so I'm going to say it. But the one thing I will not do is take credit for this. I am looking at the Wall Street Journal. The author of the article is a guy by the name of Sean McLean.
What happens when the game turns foul? That's the question swirling around Caitlin Clark, who's been battered, bruised, and seemingly targeted in ways that have sparked outrage.
Is her right to a peaceful workplace a non-hostile work environment? Are those rights being violated?
Now the WNBA might be forced to own it with a potential civil rights case led by Donald Trump's Department of Justice. Yes, you read that right. The DOJ might step into the WNBA's court. Buckle up, because this story is a wild ride, and you won't believe what happens next. In August 2025, the Washington Post dropped a bombshell suggesting that the treatment of Caitlin Clark, Indiana Fever's sensational guard, could warrant a civil rights investigation. The article didn't mince words. Clark, a white phenom playing in a league where her demographic is the minority, has faced what appears to be disproportionate aggression on the court, with flagrant fouls piling up faster than her record-breaking assists. This pattern, coupled with racially charged narratives surrounding her rivalry with players like Angel Reese, could point to systemic bias in the WNBA, a league where 70% of players are black. If Clark's treatment stems from racial animus, it could be a violation of Title VI of the Civil Rights Act, which prohibits discrimination in federally funded programs. The WNBA, which receives indirect federal funding through broadcast deals and sponsorships tied to public institutions, could be on the hook. And here's where it gets even crazier. With Trump's DOJ known for its aggressive stance on discrimination, a case against the WNBA isn't just a pipe dream, it's a real possibility. Caitlin Clark's rookie season has been nothing short of electrifying. She shattered records, averaging 17.1 points, 8.2 assists, and 5.9 rebounds per game through August 2025 per ESPN stats. But alongside her crazy performances, she's endured a barrage of physicality that's raised eyebrows. Let's break it down. In her first 20 games, Clark was on the receiving end of 7 flagrant fouls, a staggering number for a rookie guard. For context, Breanna Stewart, one of the WNBA's most physical forwards, faced only 3 flagrant fouls in her entire 2024 season. Remember when Chennedy Carter hip-checked Clark to the ground before the ball was even in play? A flagrant 1 foul that sparked a social media firestorm, only for Carter to later call Clark soft, like she had a personal problem with the then rookie. Alyssa Thomas caught Clark with a forearm shiver during a box-out, sending her sprawling. The flagrant 1 call did little to quell fans' outrage, especially as Clark limped off with a bruised knee. Arie McDonald's elbow to Clark's jaw during a drive drew blood in a flagrant 2, ejecting McDonald. Clark, visibly shaken, still dropped 22 points in the win, not to mention Kelsey Plum's aggressive screen knocking Clark off her feet. Social media erupted, with fans pointing to Plum's post-game smirk as evidence of intent. These aren't isolated incidents. Clark faces hard contact on 28% of her drives to the basket, compared to 15% for A'ja Wilson, the league's MVP. And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, Clark suffered a sprained ankle in late July, forcing her to miss 2 games. Yet, even injured, she returned to lead the Fever to a 6-2 record in August, proving the WNBA needs her star power far more than she needs anything it has to offer. Heck, she could even join another league like Ice Cube's Big Three, and we will never hear of the WNBA again. Now, let's compare these attacks to the NBA. The men's league, while physical, operates under a stricter refereeing standard. In the 2024-25 season, NBA stars like Jason Tatum and Luka Doncic averaged fewer than 1 flagrant foul against them per 40 games, per NBA.com. The NBA's officiating prioritizes star protection. Think LeBron James getting calls on minimal contact. Could you imagine Cooper Flagg, the Duke phenom and 2025 NBA Draft's top pick, enduring Clark's brutal beatdown? Not a chance. The NBA would blow the whistle before Flagg hit the floor. And a Bronny James-Cooper Flagg matchup? It'd be about skill, not race-baiting drama like the Clark Reese saga. That's why many people think the WNBA is a joke. Nobody's saying Michael Jordan's GOAT status hinges on his race. His 6 championships and 5 MVPs speak for themselves. So why is Clark's brilliance overshadowed by narratives that feel suspiciously personal? Here's where things take a shocking turn. The Washington Post article highlighted how social media amplified racial tensions around Clark and Reese. Reese leaned into the rivalry, calling Clark overhyped in a June 2025 interview. Fans on social media platforms piled on, with some posts accusing Clark of benefiting from white privilege, despite her stats dwarfing Reese's. The Post argued this rhetoric, paired with the WNBA's lax officiating, creates a hostile environment for Clark, potentially actionable under civil rights law. But here's what they're not telling you. Trump's DOJ has a track record of diving into cases involving alleged anti-white bias. In 2017, the Department of Justice under Jeff Sessions launched investigations into affirmative action policies at universities like Harvard and Yale, arguing they discriminated against white and Asian applicants. In 2020, Yale settled a DOJ lawsuit, agreeing to revise its admissions policies after evidence showed Black and Hispanic applicants received preferential treatment. The WNBA case could follow a similar script. Title VI prohibits discrimination based on race, color, or national origin in programs receiving federal funds. The Post noted that the WNBA's broadcast deals with ESPN, which partners with public universities for college games, could qualify as federal funding, opening the door to scrutiny. And you'll never guess how it ends. If the DOJ finds evidence of systemic bias, say referees ignoring flagrant fouls against Clark due to racial narratives or league pressure to downplay her stardom, the WNBA could face fines, sanctions, or mandated reforms. Legal scholar Jonathan Turley, quoted in the Post, estimated a 60% chance of a DOJ probe if Trump's administration prioritizes the case in 2026. The league's response? A vague statement about player safety that dodged the race question entirely. Stick around because this next part is huge. Why would the players want to attack Caitlin Clark? The WNBA's TV ratings are up 22% in 2025, per Nielsen, and Clark's games average 8.3 million viewers, nearly double the league's non-Clark matchups. She's a marketing juggernaut, with Nike's Clark-branded shoe line projected to gross $100 million by 2026. Yet the league seems content to let her take a beating. And here's where it gets really interesting. Clark's resilience is outshining the WNBA's negligence. Despite the fouls, she broke the single-season assist record and led the Fever to their first playoff berth since 2016. The WNBA needs Clark's star power to compete with the NBA's juggernaut, yet it risks alienating her fan base by failing to protect her. This is where things go completely off the rails. Fans have exposed referees ignoring clear fouls against her. One viral clip from a July 2025 game shows a ref staring directly at a flagrant elbow to Clark's ribs, only to wave play on. The outrage isn't just about basketball, it's about fairness. If the WNBA won't protect its biggest draw, the DOJ might step in to force the issue. But here's the most important part. This isn't just about Clark. It's about whether sports leagues can let personal biases, racial or otherwise, dictate how players are treated. The Clark-Reese rivalry mirrors broader societal tensions. Reese's supporters argue she's unfairly vilified, while Clark's fans cry foul over her treatment. Both can be true, but the data, 7 flagrant fouls, 28% hard contact, suggest Clark's bearing the brunt. The Post cited a 2023 study from the University of Michigan showing white athletes in predominantly Black leagues face higher rates of uncalled fouls, a pattern that aligns with Clark's experience. And by the end of this, you'll understand why this is so important. If the DOJ takes up Clark's case, it could set a precedent for how sports leagues handle player safety and bias. The WNBA could be forced to implement stricter officiating, mandatory bias training, or even public apologies. Universities like Harvard and Yale bowed to DOJ pressure. The WNBA, a smaller entity, will not stand a chance. And the final twist? It's something no one expected. Clark herself has stayed above the fray, refusing to comment on the DOJ speculation or racial narratives. In a post-game presser on August 10, 2025, she said, "I just play ball. The refs do their job, and I do mine." Her grace under pressure only amplifies her star power, making the WNBA's inaction look even more glaring. You'll want to see this through to the end, trust me, because if the DOJ steps in, the WNBA's next season could look very different. In the end, Caitlin Clark's story isn't just about basketball. It's about fairness, accountability, and whether a league can afford to let its brightest star take a beating. The Washington Post laid out a compelling case, backed by stats, legal precedents, and a shifting political landscape. Whether Trump's DOJ will act remains to be seen, but one thing's clear: Caitlin Clark is changing the game, on and off the court, and that's where everything clicks into place. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more updates. Stay tuned.